If you want to fly with a carry-on bag only and you're wondering how you're supposed to fit all your toiletries into a small bag like this, then this video is for you. I'm traveling and living out of a 30-liter backpack since a few years now, and in this video I thought I would share with you my best tips and tricks, and I want to talk a little bit about the products that I use and like, also how I do with long trips and very short trips where I go as lightweight as possible. So yeah, I thought I have a lot to share. And I totally get it that everyone is different, and some people are happy with a small bar of soap and a toothbrush, while others are a little bit more high maintenance. And I guess I fall somewhere in the middle of the spectrum, and I can easily fit everything I need for months into a carry-on luggage. However, it was a process for me, and also I did not start traveling minimally from the start. Quite the contrary, I can just quickly show you. This beast used to be my toiletry bag in the past. So I think I came a long way, and I have a few good tips and tricks to share. So let's quickly talk a little bit about the limitations that you're facing when you are traveling with toiletries in an airplane. And all the airports around the world have more or less the same rules. So you need to transport your fluids in a quart bag or 1 liter sized clear bag. And the containers cannot be larger than 100 milliliters or 3.4 ounces. So don't try to take a bigger container and just fill less. This is not allowed. Really, just maximum size is 100 milliliters. So you can pack your toiletries in a cheap 1 liter Ziploc bag, or you can also use something more durable like this. I personally always had the problem that the Ziploc bags broke on me while traveling, and it was sometimes really hard to find a replacement. So I switched to this clear bag from Osprey, and I traveled to 3 continents by now with it, and it was never a problem. And one thing that will make your life much easier when you get to the airport is if you already put the bag with your fluids somewhere in your bag where it's easily accessible. So the easiest way to pack less is just to bring less, obviously. And for me, it always helps to consider what is provided at my destination. For example, we often go to hotels where they provide you with shampoo and soap and body wash and all those things. And if you have uncomplicated hair and you just only stay for a day or two, this may be perfectly fine for you. And if what they provide you in the hotel room is not enough, then we often just nicely ask the cleaning lady or at the reception, and we always got a little bit more. Another way to pack less is, especially when you're traveling with others, is to just share a few things. Not everybody necessarily needs to bring their own shampoo or toothpaste. So my next tip is to switch to solid toiletries as much as possible, because the nice thing is that it doesn't even have to go into the clear bag. This is only for fluids. So everything you can bring as a solid, you can just pack somewhere else into your bag. So nowadays there are just so many solid toiletries options. Actually, you can really replace almost everything nowadays as a solid. I also did a video a while ago where I basically challenged myself to travel with solid toiletries only, so I will link it in the description. But I brought a few products to just give you an idea of which things you can substitute with solids. The most popular solid product is probably in hair care is the solid shampoo bars. These things were around first, and I really enjoy using them. Nowadays you can buy lots of variations from different brands for different hair needs. Some of them even have conditioners integrated or separate conditioner bars, but they are very easy to travel with and they last for a long time. The most challenging thing, in my opinion, is how to transport those solid bars. And my husband, he still uses one of those tin cans, but when he has to transport the soap inside when it's still wet, it usually turns into quite a mess. I personally prefer to keep my soaps and my shampoo bars in this little Matador soap pouch. It's made out of a special fabric, and in theory, the bar is supposed to dry through the material. I have very good experience with this thing, and I like it that it's very lightweight and flexible. But inside I use another thing. I personally always travel with a little suction cup and a hook that I hang into the shower, and then I put my solids into these little soap savers. And then I just always keep them hanging in the shower so they dry up and they never get so mushy. And another benefit for me is that some solid shampoos tend to fall apart once they get smaller, and inside these little soap saver pouches they're always together and usable. And once it's time to move again, I just pack everything back into my little Matador soap pouch and throw it in my bag, and I don't have a mess. Another option are those solid shampoo and conditioner leaves. They're just tiny thin leaves. Don't take them out with wet hands because it will stick everything together. I just use 2 or 3 leaves to wash my hair, and there's 50 inside of them, so they are also a very nice option when you want to go ultra lightweight. And since we're talking about hair care and I just see this in my bag, I personally travel with this wet brush Pop and Go. I really enjoy using it because it works very well on wet hair and on dry hair, and for me this is the perfect size to travel with for longer periods of times. So for dental hygiene, I travel with toothpaste tablets. I prefer the ones from a German brand called Dentabs, but luckily there's more and more companies making them with fluoride or without. I usually keep them in a small container like this. I can pack several weeks worth into a container like this, and then when I want to brush my teeth, I just chew one tablet, mix it with my saliva, and brush my teeth as it's supposed to be done. But I know that toothpaste tablets are not everybody's kind of thing, so I wanted to mention one more thing. I also enjoy using this one drop only toothpaste concentrate, so you really need just a small tiny drop of it, and I have been already traveling with this little container. Now I'm here since about 2 months, I would say. So this goes a long way. Likewise, my husband has the mouthwash from them, also from one drop only, and you just need to add 1 or 2 drops to a cup of water and you got yourself a mouthwash. So next, let's talk about skincare, and again, there's tons of options available. There's many solid face washes out there, but my favorite thing at the moment are those Olay facials. They're little wipes and you just need to add some water on them to activate them, and then you can clean your face with them. And I actually can go a long way with a sheet like this because I found that a quarter of it is more than enough for me to wash my face. Another option that does not count as a fluid would just be cleaning wipes. Also sheet masks don't count as fluids. And there's also lots of serums and face creams available as sticks. So lots of options there as well. Instead of shaving cream, I'm a little bit lazy. I just use whatever soap I have at the moment. But you could also just bring one of those razors with the cushions with the shaving cream already included. But there's also solid shaving cream. My husband always cuts himself a slice of the stick and puts it into a small container like this. And with that, he can travel for a few months. When it comes to deodorant and antiperspirants, if you switch to one that's a stick, it also does not count as a fluid. Or another option would be a crystal deodorant like this. It's just a stone, you make it wet, you use it under your arms, and you're good to go. And if you don't want to bring a large stick like this, then with most toiletries, you can just melt them and refill them in a smaller container. For example, of this one, I would just cut off a slice. I carefully warm it up in the microwave, and then I would pour it into a small container from an old chapstick or something. And then I have enough deodorant for a few days. And also when it comes to sunscreen for the body, I really enjoyed using this solid sunscreen stick from Neutrogena. And for the face, I usually bring this Hawaiian Tropic sunscreen powder. I enjoy it very much because it has an integrated brush and I can just use it on my face and then it's not shining. Now I just broke it. Great girl. Huh. And I enjoy it very much. Have to put this together in a quiet moment. But I really enjoy using this very much because my face is never shiny with it. So as you can see, we already have lots of amazing options to pack with us that don't even count towards the limits, so our bag is still empty. So next, let's talk a little bit about the fluids you want to bring. And at some point, you realize that always buying travel-sized products is very expensive. Refilling them into smaller containers is actually much more economic. And I know that the most popular travel container is a silicone bottle like this. I guess everybody used this at some point in their life. In my opinion, they work fairly well, even though they are a little bit bulky. And if I can give you one tip, if you travel with it in an airplane and it's half empty, before you close it, just squeeze out a little bit of the air and seal it like this, because with all the pressure changes in the airplanes, this closure usually pops quite easily and makes a big mess in your bag. What you can also do is put a little bit of cling foil inside here as well. Or if you want to be absolutely sure that nothing bad happens, then put it in a Ziploc bag extra. But instead of buying travel-sized containers, in my opinion, it's much more nicer to just start collecting suitable containers over time. In my opinion, many products come in very nice containers that you can actually refill. For example, my favorite face cream I always put into this airless dispenser. I don't even remember which product it was a while ago, but now my normal cream that comes in this heavy glass tube, I just refill into this thing and it's much more compact and easier to travel with. Then every time I come across a nice sample size, I just hold on to it, and I have a little collection of small containers like this. I think this used to be from a hotel once upon a time. And really, if you start looking, you find lots of nice options. For example, my favorite antiperspirant is in a roll-on. Unfortunately, it does not have a solid version. So I always refill a little bit into this small, tiny container that I found. I think this used to be like a headache roll-on or something, but I can just pop off the head there and refill it with my antitranspirant, and this saves me a lot of space and also lasts me for a while. And another type of container I love to refill are those little squeeze bags. This one is 50 milliliters and I usually refill it with whatever I need and clean it out afterwards. And if it gets all gross, I just throw it away. But this type of container I really enjoy because the more you use it up, the smaller it gets, whereas this thing always stays bulky. So I always try to hold on to these things when they make sense. What also helped me a lot to reduce the amount of things I bring is that I always try to find kind of multi-purpose items. Nowadays you can get many products that have more than one use. I think the classic example is like the 3-in-1 soap kind of thing that's for the hair, for the face, for the body. Usually you find this thing in the men's section. Looks like they're trying to sell more products to the girls. But for me, they work fairly well. So when I go on a short trip, I usually bring one of these things with me. Another thing I like to bring is a cream that I can use for my face and my whole body. Two products that work very well for me are the Skin Food Light from Veleda and also the Nivea Soft Cream. And it saves me a lot of weight instead of bringing like special creams for the face. However, if I want to do something nice for my face or I want to bring something special, I don't know, I usually pack a small serum like this or one of those serum drops that come in little one-time packages, these little drops. And then I just put this underneath one of those moisturizers and it's good for me. Another one of my favorite multi-purpose things is the Cartier Dry Oil. I can use it on my face and on my body, but also on my hair, either before washing or afterwards. But then afterwards, just put a little bit into the lengths. Otherwise, it will look very greasy. At the end of the day, it is an oil. I always use it when I come out of the shower, just on my wet body and rub it in. And then it basically turns into a cream, because most creams are also just a whipped up version of oil and water. So it's basically the same thing in a more compact form. And especially in the winter, I really enjoy using it. And another multi-purpose item are the Dr. Bronner soaps. I don't have one here at the moment, but you can use them for almost everything, from washing your hair to washing your body to washing dishes. Some people even use it as a toothpaste. I never tried that, but yeah. So there's lots of options that can really reduce the amount of products you need to bring. So I also wanted to talk a little bit about the things that I bring on short and long trips, and maybe let's start with the short trips. I really enjoy hiking, and sometimes we hike for several days, for example, and then my goal is also to travel as lightweight as possible, and I don't want to haul all of my toiletries around with me. So the little kit that I usually make myself is this. And this lasts me for 2 days. What I have in here is one of those sample packages of a CeraVe moisturizer. I have 2 quarters of the Olay face wipes to wash my face. I have a few of those shampoo and conditioner sheets. I have 2 toothpaste tablets and I have a little bit of floss. And with this small package, I'm already good to go for 2 days. However, if I go hiking, I would usually also bring this small solid sunscreen with me. And then I really have everything I need, and it only weighs a few grams. And now let's talk a little bit about long trips, because there it basically always depends. When Everson and me are more stationary, so we stay in the same place for a longer period of time, we just go out and buy the essentials, shampoo, toothpaste, all those things there. When we are more on the move and we don't stay in the same place for longer periods of time, then it's a little bit more challenging because you kind of have this issue of restocking. Even though many things last quite a long time, for example, I can go with a shampoo bar, I guess easily a month or 1.5 months. And when I bring the dry oil, it's 100 milliliters. And if I bring the whole thing, it usually lasts me for several months. But in many countries, solid toiletries are not that popular yet. So when you have to buy stuff, you usually have the issue that you can get almost everything, like shampoo and all those things, but they come in huge quantities that are not very practical for traveling. So one thing that my husband and I regularly do is that we both travel with a 100 milliliter silicone container like this. And when we run out of shampoo, we just buy a big bottle, which is usually around 200 milliliters, and we just divide it up between the two of us, and then we have rarely any waste. Another thing you can do if your hair or your body is quite uncomplicated and you're not very picky is to just always refill this at the hotels. Many of them now have those big dispensers. At some point you have a wild mix of products in there, but it still works. Another thing I always like to do is at every hotel you usually get a little soap bar, and if it's one that does not dry out my hand, I usually put them into my soap saver. So in there I always have a wild mix of different little soaps, but they work. And I also feel good because I think it's better for the environment, because I think the little soaps at the end of the day are just thrown away. And if I can stress one thing at this point, then it really is to please go ahead and test all the products you want to bring for a little bit before your trip. For example, for me, shampoo bars, some work very well, while others leave my hair in a mess and make my scalp all itchy, and it can be very unpleasant very quickly. So really test your things for a while before you leave. And now we're fully packed, and basically my toiletry bag is still half empty. And now that you're a pro at packing toiletries for carry-on travel, it's time to tackle the rest of your bag, and I recommend you to watch this video here with my best tips and tricks. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!